Bryan Christopher Kohberger was born on November 21, 1994, and grew up in suburban Pennsylvania. From an early age, he was described as quiet, introverted, and highly intelligent. His academic path was clear. He showed an early fascination with psychology and criminology, pursuing higher education earnestly. He earned an associate degree in psychology and cloud forensics in 2018, followed by a master's in criminal justice from DeSales University. A pivotal moment came when he began working with forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland, mentor of sorts, who later reflected on teaching him methodologies used to analyze killers. Kohberger even posted a survey online exploring criminal decision-making, an interest that would lead him to Washington State University, WSU, where he became a PhD student in criminology and taught classes as a teaching assistant. In June 2022, Kohberger moved to Pullman, Washington, near WSU, and just 8 miles from Moscow, Idaho, the site of 4 brutal murders that would rock the college town in November. Around that time, some faculty expressed concern about his behavior toward women and dismissed him from his teaching assistant role soon after, signaling early warning signs unnoticed until tragedy struck. On November 13, 2022, in the early morning hours, 4 students, Kaylee Gonkovs, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were found stabbed to death at their off-campus home on King Road in Moscow. At least one of the victims was stabbed over 50 times. The attack was savage, unprovoked, and without known motive. Moss grew over the city. Fear and grief swept the campus. Investigators scrambled to find answers, collecting forensic evidence, phone records, and surveillance. A sense of unease gripped the town. Some speculated about intruders or cult connections. Others suspected someone from the inside. Yet investigators had little to go on until they'd cleared the area of immediate threats. 3 days of denial followed before law enforcement warned the public the killer was still out there. Then on December 30, 2022, Kohberger was pulled over by Indiana State Police. He was driving with his father back to Pennsylvania for the holidays. He received a warning and moved on. Weeks later, investigators traced familial DNA from trash at his parents' Pennsylvania home to DNA on a knife sheath found at the murder scene. With that breakthrough, Kohberger was arrested in the Pocono Mountains and extradited to Idaho. During his January 5, 2023 court appearance, he was formally charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. He entered a not guilty plea, standing silent while his co-defendants, the victims' families, and the small courtroom looked on. Detectives laid out construction of evidence. Cell phone pings showing his presence around the neighborhood in the hours before the killings. Surveillance video of a white Elantra he owned spotted near the victim's residence that morning, and DNA matching the sheath. A public gag order followed, sealing many documents due to fear of sensational headlines. Still, investigators shared details. Over 130 law enforcement personnel were involved, FBI experts arrived, and evidence streams flowed in from phone logs, forensic analysis, and digital footprints. A living occupant, surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen, reported seeing a masked figure leaving the scene, yet did not call 911 out of shock and fear. In May 2023, a grand jury indicted Kohberger, and the prosecution made clear they planned to pursue the death penalty, calling the murders heinous and premeditated. Defense lawyers requested a change of venue to Boise, citing intense local publicity. The judge granted the motion. Jury selection was scheduled for August 2025. Meanwhile, pressure mounted. Questions surfaced about motive. None was confirmed. Fragments of online activity hinted at incel-like ideologies. Classmates remembered him as brilliant, but arrogant and obsessive. By June 2025, something shifted. On June 30th, just weeks before trial, Kohberger agreed to plead guilty to all counts, murder and burglary, in exchange for 4 consecutive life sentences without parole and a 10-year term for burglary. The death penalty was dropped. He waived appeal rights, meaning he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. Courts labeled the plea deal a hard compromise, avoiding further trauma for victims' families, but leaving crucial questions unanswered. Why, how, and what motivated the act? On July 2nd, Kohberger quietly admitted his guilt in court, responding yes to each murder count. He spoke no further. His flat effect in the courtroom prompted speculation that he may be autistic or have other psychological conditions. Families' reactions were mixed. Madison Mogen's stepfather said the plea allowed healing. Kaylee Goncalves' sister condemned it as a shortcut that denied full accountability. Sentencing on July 23, 2025, sealed the deal. Judge Stephen Hippler called Kohberger a faceless coward and lamented the absence of motive, saying focus on explanation would only grant him relevance he didn't deserve. Kohberger remained silent. He was ordered to pay $50,000 per victim and a $5,000 civil fee for burglary. Each sentence was stacked consecutively, 4 life terms plus 10 years, without parole. Local reaction echoed that judgment. Moscow's mayor said the sentencing brought relief and closure to a grief-stricken town. A healing garden was built in the campus quad, a tribute and a symbol of resilience. Some victims' families asked for forgiveness, others just for peace. A debate continues over plea deals in capital cases. Is avoiding execution worth losing full transparency? Nationally, the case prompted soul-searching. A new documentary, The Idaho 4, co-authored by James Patterson, explored not just the case but the broader culture of lonely misogynistic killers. It questioned, could system-level factors have prevented the crime? Or was Kohberger's mind engineered to kill? For true crime consumers and law enforcement alike, it was another reminder. Tragedy can strike out of nowhere, even close to home. Kohberger's motives remain murky. He bought a military-grade K-bar knife months earlier and deep-cleaned his car afterwards. He turned off his phone during the murders. He stalked the target area for months. He applied to assist rural police around that time. But no statement revealed why he did it. The weapon was never found. Academically, his transition from student to killer is haunting. He studied how killers think while becoming one. A psychologist has likened him to Elliot Rodger, someone steeped in incel resentment and entitlement. But Rodger left manifestos. Kohberger left silence. He chose prison over trial, which denied families the theatrical spectacle, but gave them finality. In Idaho, classes resumed quietly. Students returned under more cautious campus safety protocols. The building was demolished, replaced with a memorial. Campus discussions included new self-defense training and mental health workshops. Kohberger's case became part of textbooks on forensic identification, legal ethics, and university responsibility. The sentencing was live-streamed, forcing viewers into unfiltered courtroom grief. Prosecutors zeroed in on the lack of motive, saying sometimes evil simply exists without explanation. Kohberger's ease under questioning, his refusal to express regret, struck many as chilling. He'd looked like a promising academic. Instead, he revealed a calculating predator. Today, he's housed in maximum security Idaho. His file will never open. He offered no apology. He never will. Meanwhile, families, courts, and communities bear the scars. 4 young lives peopled with promise, students, friends, winners, were extinguished in a single night. Kaboom! A town shattered. And in a plea, a man chose life in prison over public reckoning, but couldn't escape silence. Bryan Kohberger's story stands as a warning about overconfidence in communities, the limits of forensic profiles, and the fragility of peace. It's a story of easy assumptions, safe campuses, smart students, upended by brutality. The detective work was painstaking, the motive unknown. The convict hears shouts but remains mute. Those left behind gather in grief, connect in memory, plant trees, share college pictures, scholarships, prevention workshops. Their future is now funerals and gardens, memorial photos and campus pledges. In prison, Kohberger's academic certifications become irrelevant. His name on the wall may hold data for criminologists, sample crime forensics, but to the families, he is a shadow, the man who chose to enter a home and kill, without reason, without apology, without release. They live in silence. He lives behind walls. In that inequality lies a kind of justice, pain repaid, but no answer, no relief, no escape.